turning back there, and this thought just has come to me again, so I'll go there as you're going back to Isaiah. In Corinthians, it says, in reference to the gifts of the Spirit, 1 Corinthians 13, verse 9. For we know in part, we prophesy in part, but when that which is perfect is come, that which is in part will be done away. When I was a child, I spoke as a child, and as a child, thought as a child, but when I became a man, I put away childish things. For now we see in a mirror dimly, but then face to face. Now I know in part, but then I shall know just as I am known. The grace, and now abide faith, hope, and love, the grace of his love. Moses, thinking about last week, my concluding thought, he knew God in a way that no other man ever knew him, and possibly in a way that no other man will know him. And he spoke to God mouth to mouth, face to face, but he still had limited knowledge and limited abilities of all he knew about God. In Isaiah, I was going to start with the 6th verse in Isaiah 55, but let's start with the first verse. It's a short chapter. Ho, everyone who thirsts, come to the waters. And you who have no money, come and buy to eat. Yes, come and buy wine and milk. He's not talking about natural wine and natural milk. He's not even talking about buying it with physical money. He's talking about invest in God to get the new wine. Invest in God for milk and word. Yes, come and buy wine and milk without money and without price. Why do you spend money for what is not bread? Jesus is the bread of life. You don't need to spend money, just time. Investing your soul, turning over to Him. And your wages to the Lord does not satisfy. I was listening to Ravi Zachariah this morning, and he's talking about one of the richest men in the world he had an opportunity to meet. And he said when he got to the top of his game and became a very wealthy man, it just did not satisfy his hollow. And he had said that he had come to the knowledge of Christ because he come to the end of his rope with the riches in this world. I'm paraphrasing what Robbie said this morning in his message. It wasn't the first time I ever heard him preach that message. You can have all the world's riches and wealth and be one of the most rich and powerful persons in this world. But it's meaning tickling you for us. To weigh the balance and it'll come up lacking and short and bloody. When you come to the knowledge of Jesus Christ, there's nothing like that. And when you're infilled with His presence and with His divine Holy Spirit, there's nothing like that. Listen diligently to me and eat what is good. And let your soul delight in itself in abundance. Incline your ear and come to me. Hear. What's He saying, Matthew? Come unto me, all you who are laboring, heavy laden and burdened, and I will give you rest, right? Incline your ear to come to me and hear, and your soul shall live. And I'll make an everlasting covenant with you, the sure mercies of David indeed I have given him as a witness to the people, a leader and commander for the people. Surely you shall call a nation to nation you do not know. We're the nation that people don't know, the nation of Christians, the nation of the fellowship of believers, the nation of those following Jesus Christ, a nation without boundaries or borders, and with only one leader. His name is Father God, Jesus. A nation who do not know you shall run to. Because of the Lord your God, the Holy One of Israel, for He has glorified you. Seek the Lord while He may be found. Call upon Him while He is near. Let the wicked forsake his way, and the unrighteous man his thoughts. Let him return to the Lord. Let him have mercy on him and to our God, for he will abundantly pardon. For my thoughts are not your thoughts. And this is where the thought of my message came from this morning. We don't always understand. Why? His thoughts are not our thoughts, and his ways are not our ways, says the Lord. For as the heavens are higher than the earth, so are my ways higher than your ways, and my thoughts than your thoughts. For as the rain comes down and the snow from heaven, and do not return there, but to water the earth, to make it bring forth and bud, it shall give seed to the sower and bread to the eater. So shall my words be that goeth forth from my mouth, shall not return to me void, but shall accomplish what it pleases, and will profit the thing which I said. For you shall go out with joy, and shall be led out with peace. And the mountains and the hills shall break forth and sing before you, and the trees of the field will clap their hands. And instead of the thorns shall come up, instead of the thorns shall come up the cypress tree. And instead of briars shall come up the myrtle tree. And it shall be to the Lord for a name, for everlasting sign, that shall not be cut off. No question. Do we need to know everything about God in order to serve Him? Do we need to know and understand everything about God in order to trust Him? Let me give you some examples. How many of you drive an automobile here? Raise your hand. Automobile, truck, some kind of RTV, ATV, something to get you around, motorcycle, a Spider, a three-wheeler. Do you know everything about that automobile or that truck or that vehicle? Now, Carol, you're the exception to what I'm going to say next. Most women are not too mechanically inclined. They don't know anything about disc brakes. Heck, a lot of men don't even know about that. Don't know where the spark plugs are. Big joke in the diesel industry with the truck drivers is, where are your spark plugs at? Well, diesels don't use spark plugs, but gasoline engines do. Do I need to know everything about that automobile, that mode of transportation, in order to know that when I put the key in and hit the switch, as long as everything's functioning, it's going to start? And as long as I got gas in the tank and a good battery, it's going to start. I'm going to be able to get down the road. I don't need to know anything about that. That's why I got ASE certified mechanics. And even they don't know everything about that. Just have a problem with your vehicle that's an intermittent electrical problem, and you'll find out real quick they don't know everything either. But they'll ask you, how's it acting? Kind of like a doctor. Let's use another example. You got problems, you got pains, and it hits you when you're getting up. And you go to your family general practitioner, they say, man, I don't know. Let me send you for an MRI, or a CAT scan, or what other kind, ultrasound, what an X-ray. They might send you for an X-ray first, an ultrasound next, and then a CAT scan next, and they look at all this stuff. And, well, I don't know. So I got to open you up. And then when they open you up, they still don't know. Have you ever trusted them? Don't we? We have faith in them? Don't we? How much more complicated is God than all that? Or how about the electric in your house? You go to flip the switch, you expect the lights to come on. You turn the thermostat down, you expect to get cooler in the summer. You turn it up in the winter, you expect to get warmer in the winter. But when someone hits a telephone pole near your house like they did last night, the electric goes out, and 547 Duke Energy customers routed without electric, and you text them and say, I'm without electric, they say, you're the only one that's reported, you're the first one reported. Go flip your breakers. You go flip the breakers, and you got to know where the breaker panel is. You flip the main, and nothing happens because someone snapped the pole off. And all of a sudden, Duke says, hey, we got electric outage in your area, 547 have been without electric, and we got a crew coming down. Now, we got good insulation in our house. We know this because we just gave an additional $5,000 in the house, $6,000 in our house insulated. It's insulated so well, we don't always hear everything going on outside. This is just a couple of houses up, about a quarter mile up the road. We didn't hear the sirens, the engines, the fire department, the cops, nothing. And there was a pole snapped off and the transformer landed on the ground. And the wife, when she backed out the driveway, go down and see Mama Pop last night. Take Pop a birthday gift, happy birthday, Mama Pop. Well, they did the best that you see. She came in with pictures and said, you know what happened? Well, I know when I went to the bathroom and flipped the light switch on, the light didn't come on, something was wrong. I knew when the computer went off, there was something wrong. I knew when my TV went to blackout mode, something was wrong. But I don't have to know about the power plant. I don't have to know about step-up transformers or step-down transformers. I don't even need to know about wires being strung overhead coming down the pole and into my house to know when I flip the switch, the light didn't come on. But I still have faith and trust that when I flip that switch, the light's going to come on. So then I want to ask you something. One more example. Computers. How many of you own a PC? How many own a smartphone? That's a PC. Just a smaller version of my tabletop. Just a smaller version of your laptop. Just a smaller version of your iPad. Or a bigger version. Whichever case it may be. Now, do you need to know microchips? Do you need to know about hard drives? Do you need to know about programs and Wi-Fi connections? Do you need to know about full color displays? What the difference is between an LED and LCD or whatever other kind of DD is? But when you flip the switch and nothing comes on the screen but black screen, you know you got a problem. Do I need to know everything about my computer in order to learn how to do my word processing? And thank God for word processing, because let me tell you something right now. I lived back in the era. I take all my term papers on Underwood typewriter, and I still got the Underwood typewriter that my great aunt used. Can't buy ribbons for it anymore. Still works. And let me tell you something, those college professors back then in the dark ages were mean. They didn't want you to have eraser marks and ghosts or skeletons. If you erase too much, get the skeleton out, you put a hole right through the paper and type the whole page over. But thank God for Xerox, because they came out with a new printing system that when you copied it was on good bonded paper and it looked like it was typed. And I'd have a few eraser marks. I thought, you know, I'll copy this term paper over about 7 years. Slide it by the professor. That little old professor was smart old budget. Oh, Nick, come up here, I'll see you. He said, I want to see your erasing marks on your term paper. You ain't got any. Typing looks pretty good, but it ain't typed. This is a copy. Now, unless you can produce the original, sir, I'm going to fail your rear end. Well, just a minute. I was able to reach into my briefcase, and as a matter of fact, this was the briefcase I carried in college. Right here. This one here. Reached into the thing, pulled out the original. He said, yep, a few too many eraser marks on the original, but you were pretty slick. I'm going to let it slide, because you got the original. He said, the paper was good, gave me A- because it was a Xerox copy of my original. Now today, all you got to do is hit the backspace, take it out, put a new letter in or whatever, and when you hit print, it comes out el perfecto. And after you print that thing, if you still find a problem with the copy, you can go back to the word processor and you can fix it. Now I don't understand how it all works. All I know is it makes me look like a first-class typist. Can I hear an amen? So then why? Let me ask you this. Why do we have to know everything about God, the past, the present, and the future? Why do we got to know everything about God in order to understand that God works? I don't know everything about my car. I don't know everything about electric. I don't know everything about computers. I don't even know everything about my wife. I've lived with her for 35 years, but I know it works. Can I hear it, amen? And I know she loves me and I love her. And we have a ooh-la-la relationship. I don't need to know everything about her. Some things are best to be discovered over time. Can I hear it, amen? I like that, huh? You know, I'm telling you the truth today. So point number one is, do we need to know everything about a God in order to trust Him? Do we need to understand everything about a God in order to serve Him? And point number three is, even though we don't know or understand everything about God, we know this. And I want you to turn to Romans 5. I'm going to read it to you in the Living Translation. Romans 5. Floaters in my eyes are not quite today. Verse 6. When we were utterly helpless, Christ came at just the right time. Let me tell you something, brothers and sisters. When I looked at this morning in that translation, I broke. Something in me broke. I didn't need to know everything about God. I didn't need to understand everything about God. But at just the right time, He showed me that meaningful death for me, a sinner that needed Him so deeply and so badly at just the right time. Hold your thought now. Romans 5, come back to that. We'll go to John 6, 44. In John 6, 44, no one can come to me, meaning Jesus, unless the Father who sent me draws him, and I will raise him up at that last day. Turn to John 12, 32, and it says, if I am lifted up, Jesus Christ, from the earth, if I am crucified, died, buried, and resurrected from the dead, I will draw all people to myself at just the right time. When I was utterly helpless, Christ came to me. I was a person and so desperate of need when Jesus Christ introduced Himself to me like never before. Oh, I knew He was the Son of God. Never doubted in the virgin birth Son of God. Never doubted that Mary was His mother and He was conceived without sin. Never doubted that Jesus Christ was the Son of God that died on the cross. Never doubted He rose again from the dead. But it was all cognitive and nothing in the heart. And the farthest distance from salvation is about 6 to 12 inches, depending on the length of your neck and the diameter of your head. Some of us have shorter necks and smaller heads, so it's closer. Some of us have bigger heads, trying to get through that big head, that long neck. But Jesus speaks to our heart. And it takes the Father to introduce the Son to us, it says in John. The Father's going to draw us to the Son. And if the Father doesn't draw us, the Son won't be introduced to us. And then He introduces us to the cross, the Son of the cross. And how He's lifted up, and how the Father and the Son draw us to His ever-precious bleeding scalp, where the crown of thorns was put on and beat on. Draws us to His ever-precious bleeding hands and feet that were crucified to the cross. And ever draws us closer to that precious bleeding side. Draws us near, 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 precious Lord, to the cross. For thou hast died, draws near, near, ever precious Lord, to your precious bleeding side. When we were utterly helpless, Christ came at just the right time and died for us sinners. Now, most people would not be willing to die for an upright person, though some might perhaps be willing to die for a person who is especially good. But God commended His love towards us. But God showed His great love for us by sending Christ to die for us while we were still sinners. While we stunk of the mire and muck that we were in, while we were stunk of all the filth and degradation we were wallowing in. God commended His love. God demonstrated His love toward us, that we were yet sinners. Christ died for us. Number one, do I need to know everything about God in order to understand this? No. Number two, do I need to understand everything about God in order to understand this? No. And even though I don't understand or know everything about God, this I do know. I can still trust Him. I can still love Him. I can still obey Him. I can still come to Him because He has proven Himself to me, because He died for me and rose again from the dead for me. How do I get to know God? I got to be saved first. How do I get to know God? After salvation, I need to get into the Word. How do I get to know God? After I'm saved and get to the Word, I need to learn to pray, but not pray in the old prayer. Learn to pray in the Holy Ghost. Be filled with the Holy Ghost. How do I get to understand God? I got to be saved first. I think I heard that. Sorry. How do I get to know God and understand God? I got to get into His Word, because it's a written Word explaining the Word that was made flesh to dwell among us. The Word was made flesh and dwells within us. Christ in us, hope of glory. How do I get to understand God? By praying in the Holy Ghost, building up my holy faith, praying in the Holy Ghost. Almost done. Isaiah 55:7 says this: Let the wicked forsake his way, and the unrighteous man his thoughts. Let him return to the Lord. He will have mercy on him, and to our God, for He will abundantly pardon. In conclusion, number one, God will have mercy. And two, God will abundantly pardon. Romans 5:9, what does it say there? In Romans 5:9 it says, Much more then, having been justified by His blood, we shall be saved from wrath through Him. So, number two, in conclusion, He will save us. And in Romans 12:2 it says, point number three in conclusion, that He may prove what is the good and acceptable and perfect will of God. And how is He going to do this? Do not be conformed to this world, but be ye transformed. How is He going to transform us? How do we not conform to this world? How do we become transformed? And it says it this way. I'm trying to find the Living Translation quickly, so we'll bear with me. And I like the way it reads in the Living Translation. It says it this way: Don't copy the behavior and customs of the world, but let God, let Jesus Christ transform you into a new person by changing the way you think. Do not be conformed to this world, but be transformed. How? By the renewing of your mind, changing the way you think. We don't always understand everything about God. We don't always know everything about God. Just as we don't always know everything about electric, but we know it works. Just as we don't know everything about computers, but we know they're a helpmate to us. Just like we don't know anything about an automobile, but they move us from one point to another. God would not be worthy of our worship if we understood everything by our humanly wisdom. And one last concluding thought. Turn to 1 Corinthians again, because I want to give you something deep to chew on this week. 13:12. For now I see in a mirror dimly, but then face to face. Now I know in part, but then I shall know just as I am known. But let me tell you something. If we know everything right away in eternity, eternity will be boring right away. I believe that in eternity, even though I will know him as he's always known me, because I'll be seeing him and with him face to face, I know God may not show us everything right away. But I believe he's going to impart to us little by little, little by little, here little, there little, line upon line, precept upon precept. Oh yes, we'll know him face to face. We'll know so much about him instantaneously that we never knew. But I believe in eternity, as he makes the heaven and earth, and everything will be new. Nothing will ever be old. Once new starts, new becomes old soon. But I think our new relationship with God won't get old, because it's going to be new. Moment after moment. Eternity, time after eternity time. Here little, there little. That's what makes God worthy of our worship. Stand here.